Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And so while most people would say to start off with comparing the Pixel 9a to the Pixel 8a, I decided to compare it starting with the 7a and just kind of tell you guys what I think about these two devices. Now, we can go into like all the specifications, but most people are already doing that. However, me being an avid Pixel fan, I thought I would just go over the experiences that I've had with both and compare them and basically just state what I feel is similar, what I feel is different between them. Now, if you're looking at the overall design of hardware, of course, there's going to be differences there, as they're calling the Pixel 9a's design an industrial look, you know, with the boxy feel and everything like that. Whereas when you look at the Pixel 7a, it's got some, you know, rounded edges all around it, but it is more rectangular and more sharper corners than the Pixel 9a, which has rounded corners. But height-wise, they're about the same height. Of course, the Pixel 7a feels thinner than the Pixel 9a. That's a given. The Pixel 9a has, you know, a larger battery than the Pixel 7a. But as far as using both of these devices for the software that they are, it pretty much yields the same result. There's not really a giant difference between using the Pixel 9a or the Pixel 7a, which I'll get into in a little bit. As you guys can see, you know, I'll try to put them side by side as equally as possible so you guys can pretty much see for a difference if you're looking in one. But obviously there's going to be one thing that stands out, and that's that camera bar on the 7a. As far as the bottom, you still get one speaker on the bottom. I know other people are like, there's a second speaker cut out on the 7a. That's actually not. That's a microphone. So it's one speaker. Other than that, you know, everything else pretty much still the same. Power button on the top on the right side. Volume rocker just underneath that on the right side. Nothing on the left side except the 9a's SIM tray is now at the bottom. The 7a's is on the left side. So that's pretty much it. Then of course you got that camera bar with the pill cut out for the camera sensors, which is a 64 megapixel on the 7a. The 9a having a 48 megapixel sensor. A lot of people are kind of baffled and shocked about the change in that, right? Because the Pixel 8a maintained the 64 megapixel sensor, same as the 7a. 9a dropping down to a 48 megapixel. But let's take a photo and I'll put the photos side by side and you guys can be the judge of it as to which you feel like is a bit crisper, a bit nicer. Of course, when it comes to photography, it is subjective to a degree. Some people like warmer colored photos, some people like cooler colored photos, some people like oversaturated colors, some people like a little bit more of a dulled down coloring. So when it comes down to that, but you tell me which one did pretty good. You guys can tell which took the photo. If you didn't, 7a's is on the left, 9a's is on the right. Obviously you can see the 9a in the corner of the 7a's photo. But yeah, that's just a little bit of a photo to compare by. If you guys want a full photography video, I'm gonna post one on the photography channel sometime in the next week or so. And yeah, you guys can check that out. Subscribe to that channel. Yeah, anyways, as far as software experience, like I said, it's pretty much similar. Both are running Android 16 beta 4. So there's not like a giant difference, with one being on Android 15 or anything like that. I wanted to test Android 16 on the 9a, so I did install it the other night. And so yeah, they pretty much navigate the same. Fluidity is similar to a degree. I mean, the 9a is a newer phone, so it's not bogged down by like months and months and months of cache buildup and things like that. But not a drastic difference as far as navigating through the operating system. They're both pretty fluid and they're pretty much quick. Processing time for like the photography is a little bit different. I would say it's a hair faster on the 9a, obviously, with the Tensor G4 processor versus the Tensor G2. But that's, again, very small things. There's not a drastic difference. So like, for me being an honest creator for you guys, there's not really a huge reason to jump from the 7a to the 9a if you're looking to find like a better performance. The performances are nearly on par. It's not a huge drastic change of like if you went from a Snapdragon 400 series chip to a Snapdragon 800 series chip is not that drastic of a difference in performance. Of course, there are some things that you're going to be able to do a little bit more better and efficiently with the Tensor G4 processor in the 9A versus the G2 and the 7A. But again, overall, it's not a drastic difference. So technically, you don't really need to upgrade from the 7A to the 9A unless you want some of the new AI features and maybe, some of the other additional things that will come to it, including the 7 years of software support that you get on the 9A that you don't really get on the 7A. Even though the 7A did get extended for 2 more, it's still not a 7-year support. So keep that in mind when thinking about it and deciding if you should upgrade or purchase either one.